Hame came our goodman at Ian, and hame came he, and there he saw a man where a man sold the bee. How's this now, Kimmer? How's this, quo he, how came this carl here without the leave o' me? Old song. The magistrate took the light out of the servant-maid's hand, and advanced to his scrutiny, like Diogenes in the street of Athens, lantern in hand, and probably with as little expectation as that of the cynic, that he was likely to encounter any especial treasure in the course of his researches. The first whom he approached was my mysterious guide, who, seated on a table as I have already described him, with his eyes firmly fixed on the wall, his features arranged into the utmost inflexibility of expression, his hands folded on his breast with an air betwixt carelessness and defiance, his heel patting against the foot of the table, to keep time with the tune which he continued to whistle, submitted to Mr. Jarvie's investigation with an air of absolute confidence and assurance which, for a moment, placed at fault the memory and sagacity of the acute investigator. Oh, exclaimed the Bailey. My conscience, it's impossible, and yet, no, conscience, it canna be, and yet again, deal hamy, that I sold say, ye Robert, ye Kate ran, ye born devil that ye are, to a bad ends and nae good ain, can this be you? Ian as ye see, Bailey, was the laconic answer. Conscience. If I am not clean bumboized, ye cheat the woody rogue, you here on your venture in the Tolbooth o' Glasgow, what d'ye think's the value o' your head? Why, fairly weighed, and Dutch weight, it might weigh down 1 provost's, 4 bailies, a town clerk's, 6 deacons, besides stent masters. Ye reaving villain, interrupted Mr. Jarvie. But tell our your sins, and prepare ye, for if I say the word. True, Bailey, said he who was thus addressed, folding his hands behind him with the utmost nonchalance, but ye will never say that word. And why sold I not, sir? Exclaimed the magistrate, why sold I not? Answer me that, why sold I not? For 3 sufficient reasons, Bailey Jarvie. First, for auld lang syne. Second, for the sake of the old wife I ont the fire at Stuck of Rallican, that made some mixture of our bluids, to my own proper shame be it spoken. That has a cousin why accounts, and yarn windlass, and looms and shuttles, like a mere mechanical person, and lastly, Bailey, because if I saw a sign owed your betraying me, I would plaster that wa with your harns ere the hand of man could rescue you. Ye're a bald desperate villain, sir, retorted the undaunted Bailey, and ye ken that I ken ye to be sae, and that I wadna stand a moment for my ain risk. I ken weel, said the other, ye hae gentle bluid in your veins, and I wad be laith to hurt my ain kinsman. But I'll gang out here as free as I came in, or the very was o' Glasgow Tolbooth shall tell out these 10 years to come. Weel, said Mr. Jarvie, bluid's thicker than water, and it liesna in kith, kin, and ally, to seamotes in ilka otherseen if othereen see them no. It wad be sair news to the old wife below the ben of Stuck of Rallican, that you, ye Hieland limmer, had knocked out my harns, or that I had kilted you up in a toe. But ye alone, ye dar deevil, that were it no your very sell, I wad hae grip pit the best man in the Hielands. Ye wad hae tried, cousin, answered my guide, that I wad will, but I doubt ye wad hae come off wi' the short measure, for we gang there out Hieland bodies are an unchancy generation when you speak to us o' bondage. We down abide the coercion of good braidclaith about our hinderlands, let it be breeks o' freestone, and garters o' iron. Ye'll find the stain breeks and the airn garters, aye, and the hemp cravat, for a' that, neighbour, replied the Bailey. Nae man in a civilized country ever played the pliskies ye hae done, but Ian Pickle in your ein pocknook I hae gin ye wanting. Well, cousin, said the other, ye'll wear black at my burial. Deal a black cloak will be there, Robin, but the corbas and the hoodie craws, I segi ye my hand on that. But whar's the good £1,000 Scots that I lent ye, man, and when am I to see it again? Where it is, replied my guide, after the affectation of considering for a moment, I cannot justly tell, probably where last year's snaw is. And that's on the tap of Skehallion, ye Hieland dog, said Mr. Jarvie, and I look for payment frae you where ye stand. "Aye," replied the Highlander, "but I keep neither snaw nor dollars in my sporran. And as to when you'll see it, why, just when the king enjoys his een again, as the old saying says." "Worst of a, Robin," retorted the Glaswegian, "I mean, ye disloyal traitor, worst of a, wad ye bring popery in on us, and arbitrary power, and a foist in a warming pan, and the set forms, and the curates, and the all enormities o' surplices and serments? Ye had better stick to your old trade o' theft boot, blackmail, sprees, and gill ravaging, better stealing nowt than ruining nations." "Hout, man, wisht why your wiggery," answered the Celt, "we hae kenned na neither mony a lang day. I isi take care your counting room is no cleaned out when the Gillen and Ailey asterisk come to ret up the Glasgow biths, and clear them o' their old shopwares. Asterisk the lads with the kilts or petticoats. And, unless it just fa in the precise way o' your duty, ye mauna see me oftener, Nicol, than I am disposed to be seen." "Ye are adoring villain, Rob," answered the Bailie, "and ye will be hanged, that will be seen and heard tell o', but I isi ne'er be the ill bird and foul my nest, set apart strong necessity and the scray of duty, which no man should hear and be inobedient. And wha the deevil's this," he continued, turning to me, "some gill ravager that ye hae listed, I dorsay. He looks as if he had a bald heart to the highway, and a lang craig for the gibbet." "This, good Mr. Jarvie," said Owen, who, like myself, had been struck dumb during this strange recognition, and no less strange dialogue, which took place betwixt these extraordinary kinsmen, "this, good Mr. Jarvie, is young Mr. Frank Osbaldistone, only child of the head of our house, who should have been taken into our firm at the time Mr. Rashleigh Osbaldistone, his cousin, had the luck to be taken into it." Here Owen could not suppress a groan, but howsoever. "Oh, I have heard of that smake," said the Scotch merchant, interrupting him. "It is he whom your principal, like an obstinate old fool, wad make a merchant o', wad he or wad he no," and the lad turned a strolling stage player, in pure dislike to the labour an honest man should live by. "Weel, sir, what say you to your handiwork? Will Hamlet the Dane, or Hamlet's ghost, be good security for Mr. Owen, sir?" "I don't deserve your taunt," I replied, "though I respect your motive, and am too grateful for the assistance you have afforded Mr. Owen, to resent it. My only business here was to do what I could, it is perhaps very little, to aid Mr. Owen in the management of my father's affairs. My dislike of the commercial profession is a feeling of which I am the best and sole judge." "I protest," said the Highlander, "I had some respect for this Colland even before I kenned what was in him, but now I honour him for his contempt of weavers and spinners, and sick-like mechanical persons and their pursuits." "Ye're mad, Rob," said the Bailie, "mad as a March hare, though wherefore a hare sold be mad at March mair than at Martinmas, is mair than I can will say. Weavers, deal shake ye out o' the web the weaver craft made. Spinners, ye'll spin and wind yourself a bonny pern. And this young Berkey here, that ye're hoying and hounding on the shortest road to the gallows and the deevil, will his stage plays and his poetries help him here, I think, ony mair than your deep oaths and drawn dirks, ye reprobate that ye are, will tire too patchily, as they see it, tell him where Rashleigh Osbaldistone is? Or Macbeth, and all his kerns and gallaglasses, and you're on to boot, Rob, procure him £5,000 to answer the bills which fall due 10 days hence, were they arooped at the cross, basket hilts, androforaras, leather targets, brogues, brochon, and sporrans? 10 days, I answered, and instinctively drew out Diana Vernon's packet, and the time being elapsed during which I was to keep the seal sacred, I hastily broke it open. A sealed letter fell from a blank enclosure, owing to the trepidation with which I opened the parcel. A slight current of wind, which found its way through a broken pane of the window, wafted the letter to Mr. Jarvie's feet, who lifted it, examined the address with unceremonious curiosity, and, to my astonishment, handed it to his Highland kinsman, saying, "Here's a wind has blown a letter to its right owner, though there were 10,000 chances against its coming to hand." The Highlander, having examined the address, broke the letter open without the least ceremony. I endeavored to interrupt his proceeding. "You must satisfy me, sir," said I, that the letter is intended for you before I can permit you to peruse it. Make yourself quite easy, Mr. Osbaldistone, replied the mountaineer with great composure. Remember Justice Inglewood, Clerk Jobson, Mr. Morris, above all, remember your very humble servant, Robert Cawmill, and the beautiful Diana Vernon. Remember all this, and doubt no longer that the letter is for me. I remained astonished at my own stupidity. Through the whole night, the voice, and even the features of this man, though imperfectly seen, haunted me with recollections to which I could assign no exact local or personal associations. But now the light dawned on me at once. This man was Campbell himself. His whole peculiarities flashed on me at once: the deep strong voice, the inflexible, stern, yet considerate cast of features, the Scottish brogue, with its corresponding dialect and imagery, which, although he possessed the power at times of laying them aside, recurred at every moment of emotion, and gave pith to his sarcasm, or vehemence to his expostulation. Rather beneath the middle size than above it, his limbs were formed upon the very strongest model that is consistent with agility, while from the remarkable ease and freedom of his movements, you could not doubt his possessing the latter quality in a high degree of perfection. 2 points in his person interfered with the rules of symmetry. His shoulders were so broad in proportion to his height, as, notwithstanding the lean and lathy appearance of his frame, gave him something the air of being too square in respect to his stature, and his arms, though round, sinewy, and strong, were so very long as to be rather a deformity. I afterwards heard that this length of arm was a circumstance on which he prided himself, that when he wore his native Highland garb, he could tie the garters of his hose without stooping, and that it gave him great advantage in the use of the broadsword, at which he was very dexterous. But certainly this want of symmetry destroyed the claim he might otherwise have set up, to be accounted a very handsome man. It gave something wild, irregular, and, as it were, unearthly, to his appearance, and reminded me involuntarily of the tales which Mabel used to tell of the old Picts who ravaged Northumberland in ancient times, who, according to her tradition, were a sort of half-goblin half-human beings, distinguished, like this man, for courage, cunning, ferocity, the length of their arms, and the squareness of their shoulders. When, however, I recollected the circumstances in which we formerly met, I could not doubt that the billet was most probably designed for him. He had made a marked figure among those mysterious personages over whom Diana seemed to exercise an influence, and from whom she experienced an influence in her turn. It was painful to think that the fate of a being so amiable was involved in that of desperadoes of this man's description, yet it seemed impossible to doubt it. Of what use, however, could this person be to my father's affairs? I could think only of one. Rashleigh Osbaldistone had, at the instigation of Miss Vernon, certainly found means to produce Mr. Campbell when his presence was necessary to exculpate me from Morris's accusation. Was it not possible that her influence, in like manner, might prevail on Campbell to produce Rashleigh? Speaking on this supposition, I requested to know where my dangerous kinsman was, and when Mr. Campbell had seen him. The answer was indirect. It's a kittle cast she has gene me to play, but yet it's fair play, and I winna balk her. Mr. Osbaldistone, I dwell not very far from hence, my kinsman can show you the way. Leave Mr. Owen to do the best he can in Glasgow. Do you come and see me in the glens, and it's like I may pleasure you, and stead your father in his extremity. I am but a poor man, but wit's better than wealth, and, cousin, turning from me to address Mr. Jarvie, if ye door venture sae muckle as to eat a dish of Scotch collops, and a leg o' red deer venison wine me, come ye wi' the Sassenach gentleman as far as Drimmen or Bucklaby, or the Clachan of Aberfoyle will be better than ony of them, and I'll hae somebody waiting to wise ye the gate to the place where I may be for the time. What say ye, man? There's my thumb, I'll ne'er beguile thee. "Na, Robin," said the cautious burgher, "I seldom like to leave the Gorbals, I have nae freedom to gang among your wild hills, Robin, and your kilted redshanks, it disna become my place, man." The Gorbals or suburbs are situate on the south side of the river. "The devil damn your place and you baith," reiterated Campbell. "The only drap o' gentle bluid that's in your body was our great-granduncle's that was justified at Dumbarton, and you set yourself up to say ye wad derogate frae your place to visit me." Executed for treason. Hark thee, man, I owe thee a day in Harst, I'll pay up your 1,000 Scots, plack, and bobby, gin you'll be an honest fallow for aince, and just take her up the gate why this Sassenach. Hout awa why your gentility, replied the baillie, carry your gentle bluid to the cross, and see what ye'll buy white. But, if I were to come, wad ye really and soothfastly pay me the siller? I swear to ye, said the Highlander, upon the halidome of him that sleeps beneath the grey stane at Inchcalich. Asterisk. Inchcalich is an island in Loch Lomond, where the clan of MacGregor were wont to be interred, and where their sepulchres may still be seen. It formerly contained a nunnery, hence the name of Inchcalich, or the Island of Old Women. Say nae mair, Robin, say nae mair, we'll see what may be doon. But ye maunna expect me to gang ower the Highland line, I'll gie beyond the line at no rate. Ye maun meet me about Bucklevy or the Clachan of Aberfoyle, and dinna forget the needful. Nae fear, said Campbell, I'll be as true as the steel blade that never failed its master. But I must be budging, cousin, for the Arrow Glasgow Tolbooth is no that hour salutary to a Highlander's constitution. Troth, replied the merchant, and if my duty were to be doon, ye couldna change your atmosphere, as the minister sees it, this a iwiwal.ocon, that I sud ever be concerned in aiding and abetting an escape frae justice. It will be a shame and disgrace to me and mine, and my very father's memory, forever. Hout tout, man! Let that flea stick in the wa, answered his kinsman, when the dirt's dry it will rub out. Your father, honest man, could look our a friend's fault as weel as on either. Ye may be right, Robin, replied the baillie, after a moment's reflection. He was a considerate man, the deacon, he kenned we had our frailties, and he loed his friends. Ye'll no hae forgotten him, Robin? This question he put in a softened tone, conveying as much at least of the ludicrous as the pathetic. Forgotten him, replied his kinsman, what sold ill me to forget him, a whopping weaver he was, and wrought my first pair o' hose. But come awa, kinsman.